Right now with breaking news.
And that breaking news is happening right now in southwest Houston, where a father of two young boys was shot and killed after what police say was a home invasion.
And tonight, police say those boys were inside the home when their dad was shot. The investigation continues at this hour at the premiere on Woodfair Apartments, just off Bissonnet at the Beltway.
Our Keith Garvin is live on scene tonight. So, Keith, what are police saying about the suspects in this case?
Well, Chris, Dominique, they don't have great descriptions on those suspects. Take a look. This is the door. This is the apartment where those two people forced their way inside. Investigators are here trying to get some answers from cameras they hope will be the keys to solving this crime. A father shot inside a southwest Houston home with his two sons there when it happened. HPD detectives are calling it a home invasion that ended with the man dying after being transported to Ben's Hob.
Whoever done it just turned himself in, because he was a good friend of mine.
When has anyone ever turned themselves in? We hear this all the time. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the PayPal, Cash App, Super Chat. Real news. We fix the news. When does anyone, and get in the comment section if you have any experience with this, if you know someone who brutally killed someone and turned themselves in. Now, we do know the rapper G Dep from Puffy, Bad Boy fame. He killed the guy for no reason. Just some random white guy was walking down the street in New York and he killed him. And got away with it for like 10 years. And then one day he just, I don't know if he's high or something, he went into the police station and admitted to it. And he had all the facts, he had everything, and they knew. And now he's serving a sentence for that. He's been in jail for like 20 years for that. But other than G Dep, I don't know of anybody who's ever just turned themselves in. Because this plea is made so commonly. This plea is made damn near in every video we do. Because there's no arrest in most of the murders. But you would think that it would have a higher ratio of people turning themselves in. And I just haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. And I'm wondering if you guys have seen that.
Whoever done it just turned himself in, because he was a good friend of mine.
Dominique Johnson says she knew the victim, described as someone who was quiet and kept it to himself. Police say around 3:15 Tuesday afternoon, two people knocked on the man's door at the Premier Apartments at the 9500 block of Woodfair Drive near Beltway 8 and Bissonnet. Investigators say the two forced their way inside, then pushed the man to a back room. They say a conversation occurred, and that's when the man was shot.
Okay, so this is a tricky situation because this is what George Floyd did. He was accused of forcing his way in people's apartments. Everyone knows he dressed up as the waterman, like he was with the water department, dressed up in a uniform, and he would go knocking on people's doors. His boys would be in the SUV waiting out front. He'd go knock on the person's door. They come to the door, answer the door, and as soon as they answer the door, he'd push his way in, and then all his boys would come running in, and they would rob the people. So this is a very common thing in Houston. George Floyd went to jail for this. He went to prison. This is what he was in prison for in his last prison stint. So he's the most famous person from Houston. Used to be a lot of different people, but now he's the most famous person from Houston. And he was doing this. So that gives you a sense just of how prevalent this was. This type of crime is down there in Houston. George Floyd, this was his hallmark. This was his go-to crime. dress up like he works for the water department, knock on somebody's door. You're like, oh shit, who is it? Water department. You're like, oh man, water department. Next thing you know, it's over. You're being robbed. So I'm assuming that, in these cases, they target people that they probably assume have money, maybe drug dealers, or maybe people who they just know. They heard somebody hit a number, or somebody got some money, or somebody talking to some girl, telling some girl about some money they got, and word get around, but whatever. But this was George Floyd's thing. This was what he went to prison for. He went to prison for this.
3:15 Tuesday afternoon, two people knocked on the man's door at the Premier Apartments at the 9500 block of Woodfair Drive near Beltway 8 and Bissonnet. Investigators say the two forced their way inside, then pushed the man to a back room. They say a conversation occurred, and that's when the man was shot. Witnesses who heard the shots tell KPRC 2 News the two shooters left in a gray or silver sedan.
These apartments, they have so many cameras all over and so many security guards all over.
She's from New Orleans. She's definitely from New Orleans. A lot of people from New Orleans and Houston. You can tell by the accent.
The cameras all over and so many security guards all over.
Investigators will have to rely on those cameras and, sadly, the victim's children for answers.
There were two young children inside. They are safe right now, and we'll be speaking with them.
Whoever done it, I really do hope they turn themselves in, because that was foul doing it in front of his children.
And back here live again, one of these many cameras around this apartment complex that police hope will lead to clues that will figure out who those suspects were. We do know that the victim was 29 years old, and he leaves behind those two children. Reported live from Southwest Houston, Keith Garvin, KPRC 2 News.